Tonight on Localite with John Compton, Richard Hallman tells John how he carved out such a successful, varied career in photography. Now a widely known sports photographer, Richard's path was not a straight line, but it's led to stunning, brilliant work that can be seen throughout the Gorge and far beyond. That's all next on Localite.
Richard, welcome.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. It's good to have you on, get to hear a bit about your story. So the lakes of, well, you were Chicago, around Chicago is where you grew up.
Yeah, I was born Chicago, but actually grew up in the southern tip of Lake Michigan, between Gary, Michigan City, and Indiana.
Okay. And were you windsurfing there? Was that part of your story at that point?
Very water-oriented family, obviously being on the beach. Lucky enough we had a ski boat growing up, and I learned to water ski when I was 7 years old, and learned to sail catamarans. My grandparents had a catamaran. I think I was 7 or 8 years old when my grandparents taught me how to sail. The windsurfing was interesting because my mom and dad bought my older brother, a windsurfer for high school graduation. And of course he went away to college, so left the windsurfer at home. And so I had a couple of years to get attached to that and learn that. So it was great.
So great big big
yeah.
boards, huge sail, the whole works?
Yeah, it was a windsurfer Rocket 99, had a twin purple fin tail, and it wasn't teak wood booms like the original windsurfer, but pretty close.
Yeah.
They're just starting to do fiberglass booms, and had a really funky chest harness that was orange and yellow and had a little backpack on the back and these white straps. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
so you were quite a sight out there on the water.
Yeah, there's some photos from my high school yearbook that are pretty funny. The little quote says something like, Richard Hallman, windsurfing on Lake Michigan, he thinks that this sport is going to gain attention in the future. And that's circa 1983.
How ironic.
Yeah.
So when did you decide that, or do you remember the first time you visited the Gorge?
Oh, absolutely. It was May 28th, 1993.
Really?
So, yeah, growing up on Lake Michigan and windsurfing, I was very much interested in windsurfing to the point where I started getting Windsurfing magazine, and with the at the time, the Gorge, and still is, one of the premier spots in the world for windsurfing. So every issue there's Hood River, Hood River, Hood River, and so I found myself in high school even looking at the map, like, where is this place, and like, whoa, that is so far away,
It's so far away.
Yeah, northwest, wow.
Right.
But I knew at some point that I would find my way. I would at least go for a visit, but college got in the way, and then I moved to Colorado after college and wanted to be a ski bum for a ski season, which turned into 5.
Really?
Yeah, and then some guys I used to ski patrol with in Breckenridge, Colorado, were really big windsurfers and spent their summers up in the Gorge, and so there'd be even some powder days where we would just sit around the hut and talk about windsurfing. And so then one summer they said, we got an extra room in our house, you should come check it out.
And that was out here in the Gorge?
And that was in 93, yeah.
93. Yeah. So you came out, how long did you stay? Did you spend pretty much the season?
Yeah, I was here for the summer. I had no plans to stay any longer than that. And then I went back to ski patrol that winter, but it just didn't feel the same. And there were other things going on as well, and definitely drew me back to the Gorge. And so I came back in spring of 94, and that wasn't just for the summer anymore. That was for good.
When did you actually put down roots and decide, I'm going to buy a home and do that?
Well, I knew that I wanted to right then, but there were other things at play. I was working as a ski patroller in Breckenridge, and so moving up to the Gorge, I had no real plan as far as I knew that the ski patrol got me more interested in medicine, and so I wanted to do something further in that regard. And back in Breckenridge, there were a couple male nurses that worked in the clinic there, and so we had gotten to talking a lot about ER nursing, and it really interested me at that point because there were times when I'd be on ski patrol and my patients would go down into the ER, and I wanted to stay and, help out, help reduce shoulders, help. I was just curious about what was happening with my patients.
So as a ski patrol, then, are you just an EMT as a ski patrol?
Correct.
I shouldn't say that. I mean,
no,
that's an accomplishment. That's a
sure.
big thing to be an EMT too.
Sure.
But so as an EMT, that's where you started, and ski patrol, you were like, this medicine thing kind of.
Yeah, I think that I used to think that medicine is either something that you have or you don't have, and I used to drive by an ambulance scene and be really grateful that there are people out there that can do that, because I thought there's no way I could ever do it. But what I realized is, having taken a long break from college and then going back to school to get my EMT, I was really, really fascinated with it and did really well. And then we had some specific incidences while I was on ski patrol that were pretty intense and made me realize, well, if I can deal with this, I can deal with just about anything. And so through that, it just sort of grew sort of my interest in medicine. And then moving up here, met a wonderful woman, and she was actually in the process of retooling her education, and so then she was going to nursing school, so it kind of helped to sort of do that together at that point. And so I went to nursing school at Clark College in Vancouver and finished second in my class with honors.
Wow.
Yeah, and then got really lucky. I'd been volunteering in the ER at Providence River Hospital, and there's a position that opened up soon after I finished nursing school, and it slid right in there because it's really a tough job to get.
Yeah, well, especially I would imagine out in an area that you really, really want to be in, like Hood River.
Correct.
And then getting a good job like that.
Yeah.
So how long were you in nursing before, in the next segment, we'll talk a bit, about now where you are, and it's absolutely totally different than nursing, but
Sure.
How long were you in nursing?
I was a nurse for about 6.5 years, and I planned obviously to do it much longer. I don't know what my ultimate goal was with that, but I thought, I guess in my mind, I thought after going back to school for 4 years, that I would at least do it for 10 to 15 years, and so I made it about 6.5 years before I transitioned.
Okay. So then the photography piece, which we'll go into here when we come back from the break, but the photography piece was, I want to know when we come back, how that started developing. And most people, at least in the people that I talk to around here, know you much more for your photography than that you were a nurse. They're kind of like almost, well, the photography thing is more prominent than the nursing, and you've actually left nursing now to do this full time. So we'll talk about some of those things when we come back. We'll be right back.
When we return.
So I started pursuing other things that I was really interested in, beyond remodeling my house and traveling, but I got to go to Nepal in the fall of 2000, and when I came back, did a big public slideshow, and it just happened that there was a writer for the LA Times in the audience.